Hey, thank you for the lukewarm reception.
Do it again, guys. Do it again.
Appreciate that.
This is Chris Silcock! Chris actually was on the stage in his previous career. I mean, as a youth, he did a little bit. So we're glad to have you back off Broadway again, sold out crowd. When I last spoke with you on a stage, it was in London in 2023. And you were Chief Commercial Officer at that time. You've since added to your portfolio essentially the brand operations. So thank you very much for being here today.
Good to be here.
If you have any questions for Chris Silcock, please put them in the app, and we'll get to them at the end. So when I interview a lot of people for my job about hotels and technology, there is this persistent idea that hotels are behind the curve. And so I'd like to, before we get to the flashy AI stuff, if we could talk a bit about some of the foundational work that Hilton has done to lay the groundwork.
Yeah, and I think historically it's not an unfair suggestion that hotels have been behind the curve, and in part because we've been focused on the experience, the human-to-human interaction, the service. But, you know, as you say, the foundation to enable the future that you just heard about is so critically important. We were fortunate enough, you know, about 10 years ago, we started the shift of our core technology, that being our CRS, our distribution, our Avail engines, into the cloud. And then COVID, you know, gave us the opportunity, amongst many not so good things, to finish that journey. So during COVID, we achieved moving that distribution stack into the cloud, which gave us great benefits, you know, all the way from, you know, before that we were limiting traffic based on look-to-book ratios because of cost. That completely opened up. We can, you know, deal with as much traffic as can be thrown at us, through to the ability to then start connecting, especially as we then moved our property management system into the cloud, connecting the reservation with the on-property experience in a much more meaningful way. So going from selling a standard package, which would be a room type or category, maybe with some other things thrown in, into selling a specific room type or a specific feature or benefit that a customer is really interested in. And that's hard to do when you have property deployments of technology and connecting real time to see the availability and the inventory. So we're in that process now. Over the last couple of years, we're over 5,000 hotels now have their property management system in the cloud. Again, huge benefits from what you can then offer a customer, but also huge benefits from innovation. When you have, you know, we have 8,600 hotels across 139 countries, and if you have on-property technology trying to deploy a change, basically we could do one property management change a year, right? One deployment. Now we can do 2 a month, 3 a month, and so you can innovate much more quickly. The biggest benefit being what's coming now, which is when you have all your data in an environment where it can connect real time, you can suddenly start to use it in very different and meaningful ways.
It's fantastic. And so about 5,000 properties now, getting to 8,000 over the next year or two.
We have property management, yeah. Over the last 2 years, I think, you know, fast deployment, we're at 5,000. We will get to, you know, near completion. There's always going to be edge cases for various reasons, but near completion over the next couple of years.
It's a huge milestone compared to where some of the major other peer hotel groups are. So what is Hilton's AI strategy?
Well, listen, Hilton's strategy is around the stay. And hopefully you may have seen that in our advertising. We are for the stay. Because fundamentally, we believe, you know, we're not a tech company, but we deploy a lot of tech and we build a lot of tech. But we're not a tech company. We're a service company. We're a hospitality company, people serving people. And so our strategy is to deliver a superior stay powered by technology as one part of that stay. The surroundings of that stay, the dream, the shop, the book, is going to evolve, you know, quickly. And we believe there'll be, you know, others who can do that, invest more in that, probably than we can over time. So our strategy is if we have a superior stay, if customers know that when they stay in one of our 24 brands, they're going to get a better actual physical experience, then whatever happens around us, whatever platforms develop in whatever ways, then customers will make it clear to those platforms by their history, by their preferences, that whatever platform you choose to dream on, find me a Hilton brand. So fundamentally, that's our strategy, a superior stay, that in some way shields us from the evolution of dream shop book in technology around us. And then from an AI within that, we're focused on how to improve the stay. I think it was said earlier, a lot of hype about dreaming and shopping and booking, and of course that will change dramatically over the next 3, 5, 10 years. But we're focused on how do we infuse data and AI into the experience that customers have on property in a meaningful way that make it better, that make them tell their technology their preference us, drives loyalty, drives higher returns, drives growth.
So what I hear from that is, I think some other hotel peer groups would think of whoever has the most heads and beds in the wind, whoever has the most rooms in the end wins, inventory-led. You're saying it's brand-led, and so the platform's not driving things, the brands drive things. And that way, if you're competing with that way you're not really competing with the platforms and you're not undifferentiated. Is that, how would you put in your own words?
Yeah, I mean, we are, thank you, our strategy is brand-led. And don't get me wrong, scale is important, right? Because customers want to consolidate their travel with companies they know can serve their need in any place, at any price point for any occasion. So the platform is important, but brand-led is our strategy in order that customers know they will get a better experience. And by the way, we're big. We're not the biggest, but we've got 8,600 hotels, 139 countries, 24 brands. We served, 250 million customers last year. It's big enough. Size is important. It's not the most important thing.
Okay. And so AI could help you with the service delivery. So maybe you mentioned some of those stages. So let's walk through them. So let's pretend I'm preparing for a vacation this summer. I'm dreaming of a trip to London. How in the future might Hilton's AI help me in that dreaming stage?
Yeah, well, I mean, first off now, the kind of how we show up in media is changing rapidly. From TV being the primary kind of source of accessing customers to showing up with relevant friend in the feed type content. We do a lot of listening, a lot of jumping in to solve travel problems real time, and we find that garners us a return on investment, and we see that as marketing, but a return on investment far higher than any direct dollars we can spend on traditional marketing. We have started the pilots of enabling customers free form. I want this in this, not necessarily a destination, but at this honest price point, or with these features or benefits. How can we use all of our data to then conversationally respond? We don't have that capability live. We've done some tests. The tests outputs were not the best, but the learning was significant. So you'll see content explode, therefore access and knowledge of what you can get with Hilton everywhere. And then you'll see the ability for us to, as was said earlier, to have conversations, but digital conversations, more meaningfully with our customers, and take what we know about them to change what they see from us. Right now, this is what plays into the kind of hospitality being a bit behind the tech curve. Right now you open a hotel and you ask somebody in the hotel who is not an expert in content or marketing to write content about their rooms, about their experience, and they do it for one hotel once. We've demonstrated that you just feed that data into AI, it can produce more effective descriptions that play out in a better way and convert better. Not only can you produce one description, but you can produce a leisure description, a business description, a convention description, where when we know what your interest is, we will surface different imagery, different text that satisfies exactly what you're looking for in a more personalized way.
Okay. So let's say I'm now on property. I chose the Conrad St. James in London.
Good choice.
There's a lot of that happens behind the scene that a guest doesn't see. What are some opportunities for Hilton there?
Yeah, so we, over the last kind of 18 months, we transitioned our listening tools to much more modern technology. We used to do, the post-stay survey. We get it, a week later. We can look at that data and give it back to the hotel so they can mine it to work out what they need to do differently. We now have, micro listening, so we know when we've checked in. When you've checked in, we can buzz you with a, 5-star. Was it good, bad? Do you need to tell us anything? So throughout your stay, we deployed last year meaningfully and purposefully messaging technology to 99% of our hotels, so that customers can interact with us in a way of their choosing, whether that be text or WhatsApp or through our Hilton Honors app. And that in itself, customers who interact with us via messaging have about a 3-point improvement in customer satisfaction. So tick, good benefit. The more important thing about that is that rather than deploying it point to point, which it always historically has been, a hotel talking to a customer, we route all that data through our engine. So now, on a daily basis, we are collecting millions of discussions that are taking place between a customer and a hotel. So now, a GM can arrive in the morning and he will see the top 5 things he has to do in order to achieve his customer experience, in order to improve his customer experience, step 1. Next, we're taking that data, that treasure trove of data, and then connecting it back into the property operation systems. So not only can we tell them what to improve, we can actually initiate the workflows and the activities in a hotel that lead to action by the people. So imagine, a workflow being kicked off into the engineering department because we've seen a message that says there's a problem in a certain room. Part of the problem is today is people get that information, somebody has to pick it up, somebody has to review it, somebody has to punch it into another system.
So a problem in the room might be like a malfunctioning alarm, a fire alarm or something.
Fire alarm, anything. Heat, temperature, wear and tear, noise, but closing that loop back to action is the key, right? How do you, through technology, put that information in the hands of the person whose job it is to then go and do something to change that outcome? And then you get from, problem recovery to in the moment recovery of that situation, before the customer has left the hotel. And we see, a problem solved during stay increases customer satisfaction by 30 points. So, and in fact, everyone knows this, if you recover a problem, very often you get a more loyal customer than somebody who's never had a problem in the first place because they trust that you're there for them.
So let's say I'm a top-tier Diamond member in Hilton Honors. How can loyalty be enhanced by AI? No surprise, recognition is important. And strangely enough, simple things like, we deployed messaging, we're deploying the property management system in the cloud, and we've deployed proprietary in-room technology on the TV. TV is the most used digital kind of piece of kit in a hotel stay. And so just by acknowledging and recognizing the customer through the TV, a very simple process, it makes them feel like their stay has been more personalized, that you know who they are. Very, very simple. Second, the upgrade experience, critically important to our loyalty members. It's one of the key benefits along with the points and the redemption. And so, through more advanced forecasting and pricing capabilities, we can now forecast, the specific availability of premier room types in advance of a customer's stay. Previously, the hotels looked at their list and chose who they were going to upgrade. Now we can predict their upgraded room availability in advance. We do it 48 hours in advance. We will, decide which customer on this stay is going to get an upgrade. We'll tell them in advance. That takes away the anxiety of will I, won't I when I check in. And then what we're getting to is
not all stays are equal in that respect. So, being upgraded to a suite when you're on a one-night business trip on your own is nice, but of little value. But being able to determine that this is the stay, that you're with your family and you want to become a hero and justify all the time you spend away, we can start to determine intent and not only make the stay better, but make the traveler's family an advocate that the customer should continue to stay in Hilton's, because then they feel special, because they get the experience.
That's beneficial all around.
Beneficial all around.
We have a few audience questions. So what AI tools can Hilton offer to help us target high-intent guests engaging with our hotel beyond Cody ads, given hotels currently lack in-app marketing?
I just need to read that again. High-intent guest. Well, I mean, listen, we have multiple kind of tools that enable our hotels to connect with customers, whether it be through using our email vehicles, which are now personalized based on what we know about you. So the content you see may be different from somebody else, but also personalized based on when do you open it, and therefore what is the most likely content to resonate. We've just got to the point of deploying, and again, this is all a benefit of the backbone, customer interaction history, meaning we don't only know the transaction, i.e. where you reserved and where you stayed, but we know what hotel you looked at on the app 3 days ago. We may be able to see where you've been searching on social, and on our websites, and therefore we can start to use that information to inform what we put in front of a customer and connect all those dots and eventually connect it through to the front desk so that they can have a contextual conversation that's more meaningful.
Okay. Is Hilton anticipating a rise in the volume of direct agentic inquiries via email, phone, or website? Is there tech being built against this?
Yeah, I mean, agentic, I think, is as somebody said, the current buzzword and exciting. If you've listened to some of the ways it's being deployed in medicine, some of those conversations that are taking place are just incredible, right?
Incredible.
The empathy that the agent has for the not the customer, the patient, is incredible. So we think, whether it be through digital communication, we're already using it in chatbots, as somebody said, which results in, the simpler inquiries being answered faster, quicker, and more effectively. But the future of that for real conversational, I don't know if it's real if you're talking to an agentic thing, but feels like real. It's going to be huge, I think, and that's 12 to 24 months, I think. That's
12 to 24 months.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gaurav and Max, for those questions. They show up on Slido. Thanks. One more question. So, and I'm going to rephrase this one. This is about distribution. So Seth, our director of research, I'm just talking about the upheaval in distribution. When you, on a scale between, I'm really excited and optimistic because there's going to be a lot more direct bookings for Hilton because of all these changes, versus I'm really terrified because I don't know what OpenAI's magic box is going to do next. Where do you fall?
On the left-hand side, really excited. And again, it comes back to, unfortunately, repetitive, the core strategy, right? If we are successful in our strategy that the stay is better, then whatever goes on around us digitally, if our customers are saying to it, this is my preference, I get a better experience, I get recognized, I get a personal, experience, then that will come to life within that technology. Most excited, as I've said, for us, of how we can enhance the stay, the experience for the customer, the returns for the owners, and therefore further growth opportunity to serve more customers.
Yeah, what you talked about loyalty, I think, is especially interesting. Our Skift columnist, Colm Nagy, I was talking with him last week, and it's like he's a member of a lot of luxury loyalty tier programs, and where things fall apart is recognition,
right.
And making sure if you're interested in yoga, the yoga mat is in your room, or when you're recognized at the front desk. And so AI is going to be able to help with.
Yeah, I mean, where that falls down today, if we know that about a customer, is kicking off the workflow that results in a person doing something. That's the bit we're starting to crack, right? Is bringing it back into the operational systems that enables team members to do something that makes the stay different. And that, team members will forever be a critical part of hospitality.
Cool. Well, that's a good note to end on. Thank you very much for this conversation,
Great.
Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.